Clearly, something flipped a switch with Ice and Joe, because Joe has been going directly at Ice for several episodes now. He's crossing lines Ice said a long time ago, and Joe even acknowledged it himself, mentioning that balcony conversation they had early in Ice's run on the show. So as I'm watching this unfold, I'm like, nah, there's gotta be a reason for this. Why now? Why is Joe suddenly unloading on Ice? At first, you want to give yourself a little credit. Shout out to Danny and the other creators who've been calling out Ice for years, talking about how bad he is on the pod and how sensitive he gets, especially considering he dishes jokes but can't take them. And yeah, I'll pat us on the back for that. But then I stopped myself, because that can't be the real reason. And then it clicked. Shout out to someone in the community, I remember seeing this in the comments a while back, saying this might actually be Joe's way of acclimating Ice to the audience and rehabbing his image so people will actually want to subscribe to Ice's Patreon. And that really hit me, especially because earlier today I shouted out Mark and Imani for their Patreon work. And I'll be honest, I didn't think they'd take it seriously. I thought they'd just throw anything up without effort. Clearly, I was wrong. Joe knows Ice isn't exactly charismatic. Joe knows Ice can't carry a show by himself, and Ice knows it too, because he already tried to run a podcast, and it quietly shut down. A lot of people clown others for trying and failing, but won't even attempt it themselves. Ice, you're playing this completely wrong. If Joe clowning you is part of a bigger plan, then you have to flip the jokes back on him. Joe literally gave you the blueprint the last time he cooked you. You tried to label him gay, and because Joe is comfortable in himself, he reversed it instantly, and you froze. You looked like a deer in headlights. All you could do was get mad. And what made it worse was you talking reckless about killing somebody, while also admitting you stay in the house and intentionally don't move outside. You exposed yourself. You showed you're not really cut from the cloth of the same audience you're trying to sell a Patreon to. That's the irony. Joe is basically handing you an opportunity. He's trying to make you interesting. He's pushing you forward, and you're fumbling it without even trying to recover. And let's be very clear, Ice is the one who said he's dropping a Patreon next year. Well, guess what? We're already in mid-January. Time is moving fast, and that's one thing I'm learning the older I get. Time doesn't slow down for anybody. How much longer into this year are we supposed to wait before your content actually drops? That's the real question, because people have asked you multiple times what your Patreon is going to be about, and you never answer. Mark asked, he already has a Patreon. Joe asked, you didn't answer. Imani asked, Queen's Flip asked, still no answer. We genuinely have no idea what your page is supposed to consist of. Now, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, because Imani rolled his Patreon out in a similar quiet way at first. But here's the difference. Imani came through swinging. He hasn't taken his foot off the gas since. He's flooring it. He's so comfortable in his lane and so confident in what he's building that he went and got a co-host, and a really good one at that. Momentum matters. With you, we don't have that clarity. The main thing you're currently known for on the Joe Budden podcast is your music taste. And I'll be fair, I've given you props for that. There was a time I said the only people I wanted to hear talk music were you, Parks, and Joe. That was it, no one else. But somehow we went from that to people saying in the comments, Ice talks like he takes people off tracks, albums, and whole CDs, and we want to do that to him on the podcast. That's a fall-off in perception, whether you want to admit it or not. And I wasn't even trying to turn this into a clown session. I was honestly trying to understand why Joe has been on your back lately. Then it hit me. Maybe Joe is actually trying to push you towards something. Maybe he's nudging you toward finally launching your Patreon and giving people a reason to care. And I don't want to hear, well, I'm on Patreon too, because so am I, to the point where people ask me for advice about Patreon, while you sit next to people who are already doing it successfully. That's where the frustration comes in, because now I don't even know what the issue is. If Joe clowns you, clown him back, or flip it, turn it on its head. Joe constantly says he doesn't want to hear you be dad, which is another shot at what your potential content might be. And instead of spinning that into something clever, we just get frustrated Ice. We watch you sink into your chair. We watch the energy drain. And here's the sad part. Ice doesn't realize what's happening because he's still trying to keep a front. Joe is opening the floodgates. Every time Joe jokes on someone, that signals to everyone else, oh, it's open season. Ish couldn't wait to get jokes off on you. He couldn't wait. And if your only response is frustration while Joe laughs it off, that's dangerous. Don't let Mark go at you. Don't let Queen's Flip go at you. Because the same grace Mona gives you as a mediator, Flip does too. But once Flip sees Joe stop protecting you, that veil is gone. You should be using this moment to your advantage. Create your Patreon, even if it's a space where you finally get your shots off in ways you can't on the main pod, because you don't want to disrupt the show's cohesion. Though, let's be honest, that cohesion gets disrupted anyway. At some point, if someone has to constantly tell you, I'm here, I show up, I do what I'm supposed to do, the next question becomes, okay, but what else do you do? Because if I hire someone and all they can say is, well, I showed up, that's not enough. I need you to work while you're here. That's what's missing. Anyway, y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the page.